Really?
That's dark as fuck.
No,
Oh, I mean, not too dark for you?
no, that's good. That's perfect.
Okay. It's like mood lighting. Fine.
All right. Well, let's have some fun.
Talk to me.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the 2 Degrees podcast, brought to you by the Play On Foundation. And today I have a wonderful guest, and she has 4 Grammys. She has she has 2 Tonys because she branched out into that world,
Yeah.
and she is currently on her way to owning part of Amazon and Spotify.
Yes.
So
Yes. See,
but
no, from your mouth to God's ears. That's what that is.
boom, that's life right there. But Savannah Re, Toronto's very own, and I say that because there was like an article that came out where it says that I'm gonna mess it up, but like you're rebranding the face of Toronto music or something like that.
Yeah,
And
they be saying wild stuff.
they
Yeah.
say but what's your opinion on that? What is the state, or what does Toronto music look like?
Yeah. I mean, you know what? I think we're at a point where things are kind of changing. It feels like Toronto is kind of like catching up with the rest of the world, if you will. Like we've always had the talent, but we never really had like the straight avenue for the rest of the world to see us.
Hmm.
So I think that's happening. And of course, it's thanks to the amazing, I mean, all the biggest artists in the world are Canadian, are from Toronto. Justin Bieber, Weeknd, Drake.
Who's that last
All
one?
these people are helping. Drake?
No.
No, never heard of him, right?
Does
Yeah.
does he have
No, I mean, he's an actor too, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, like
Aubrey. Yeah. No, yeah.
Aubrey Degrassi. Yeah.
Yes,
But it's
gotcha.
like us, it's like, for me, it's specifically like a lot of the time when I've been asked questions
Wow, hold on.
and
Sorry.
stuff about
This is
what just
not
happened there.
so light is coming in through the skylight, and it's like it's
It just started blinding.
it's just
What the
sorry about
out
that.
of nowhere.
Out of nowhere.
Lighting is really hating on us today. That can't be comfortable.
It'll do for a minute, and then when the sun
Okay.
sets a bit, it'll play out. But
Okay.
yeah. No, so we Drake. Yes, I have heard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. But
He's,
like a lot of people
he's,
ask me,
Rihanna's baby father, right? That's right.
oh my God, you know what? We're not about to do this. But listen. Speaking of Baby Rhea, I'm so excited for that. But yeah, I mean, like for me personally, when we come to R&B, we talk about R&B in the Toronto space. Like it's pretty much male dominated as far as like who actually gets to get out and who you know of that does the music.
Yeah.
And then outside of it being male dominated, it's not that, there hasn't been someone that looks like me, in my opinion, who's gotten their flowers before, like a Black woman in this space. So, I wouldn't say I'm rebranding it, but I'm definitely coming out swinging.
Yeah. R&B. What is R&B now? Because there's so many genres that encompass R&B, and I find a lot of new music that's coming out, especially I'd say in the style of The Weeknd. It's like it's more of a neo soul even.
Right.
Is that still R&B, or how has that changed?
You know what? I feel like it's broad, right? Like some people, depending who you talk to, it's really just opinion based. Depending who you talk to, people will just say The Weeknd is straight up not R&B. People will say like I think that Journals, for example, the album by Justin Bieber, that's R&B to me. But some people will always call Justin Bieber pop. Like it's really subjective. For me, I consider R&B rhythm and blues.
Yeah.
So whatever that means to you, which is the actual definition, as long as your music has something to do with soul and there's rhythm in it and you sang it, to me, that's R&B. That's R&B. I think when we start trying to like gatekeep genres, like tell people what they can sing and how they sing it, that's when we start to get into, all the music sounding the same. I'd rather have that variety. You know what I mean? So for me, I don't know. It's really broad because even the music I make,
Well,
Some of the
now
songs are straight up R&B, but
with that, how do you then categorize it in award shows? Because all jokes aside, you are an award-winning artist. So then,
right.
do you go in with the intent of, oh, this is gonna win best R&B, or do you just kind of go with it?
Oh yeah, I don't know if you swear on this podcast. I'm gonna say I don't give a about awards. You know what I'm saying? Like
There's
it's
no
amazing
kids
to
listening
get
to
them.
this. I don't
Okay.
do that.
Yeah, no, honestly, like it's amazing. I'm grateful for the awards we've been nominated for and the awards that we've received.
Mhm.
But I go into it just making whatever it is on my mind and on my heart and whatever is authentic to me. So at the end of the day, whatever people choose to categorize it as, go ahead. But
Mhm.
I have to make what's true to me as a writer and as an artist.
Gotcha. Fair. What's your opinion now on artists like Drake and The Weeknd kind of boycotting awards?
Yeah. Honestly, I think it's great. I think
Mhm.
it's great because a lot of people, including myself, when you're a kid and you want to come into this industry, you're like, oh yeah, Grammys. Oh yeah, all these things. And they're amazing institutions. And, it would still be a blessing. That's still on my bucket list. But when we're talking about artists that are at the level and caliber of these, The Weeknd, Drake, and so on and so forth, by them taking the value, I don't say the value, but kind of like that is what decides if you're a great artist or not. Them taking that out of the equation and still being two of the biggest artists in the entire world, it to smaller artists or to people that are coming up, it means, to me at least, just focus on the artistry, just focus on being the best thing you could be. You don't need an institution to tell you if you're great or not.
Yeah.
So I love it. I love it. I ain't gonna be boycotting shit, but I feel that for them. I like that they're starting to lead the way as far as like, we don't need accolades. We don't need, these places telling us that we're great. It's becomes back up to us, back to the supporters, back to the fans. Well, that's it.
Yeah, fair. Um, and you're coming up with music. I feel like you're the generation that kind of got to take advantage of the new ways to get your music out there, specifically
Totally. Yeah.
streaming services and things like that.
Mhm.
Advantage or disadvantage? What's the pros and cons? What's happening to the way music is being released?
Oh boy. Yeah. I mean, that's a great question. I feel like it's a pro for like going directly from making the music to getting it to the people. That's a pro.
Mhm.
Back in the day, before us, before our generation, it was literally, it had to go through, you had to be signed to a label. It had to go through 10, 15 hands. It had to go through a studio. It had to go through whatever. Now I can literally sit here, record a song, press upload,
Hmm.
whether it's SoundCloud, Apple, whatever. So that part is great, actually getting your music to consumers. However, back in the day, even though it had to go through those 10 people, to listen to it one time, you had to pay $1 to
Yeah.
have that song, to purchase that song, one full dollar. And while that may sound small to other people, streaming services pay a percentage of a penny. We're talking about $1 per song to a percentage of a penny
Yeah.
per listen. So it's kind of like, it's really a toss up because we would not have as many dope artists and people that we love, especially those niche artists, if it weren't for these streaming services. But also now, to be an artist takes a lot more than having, even a hit record. Because
Mhm.
100 million streams, I think, is like $1 million.
Yeah.
100 million,
Hundred
100
million
million
streams. Yeah.
is, it might be less. I might be even quoting too high. I think if you're in the top percentile of like where you get paid closer to a penny, it's $1 million. So it's like, but who's getting 100 million streams as an emerging artist?
Yeah.
Before you could be like, oh, 1 million streams, that's a huge accolade, which I still think it is. But for 1 million streams, you're only getting paid about $4,000
Wow.
with the cost of rent, with the cost of a more of a car payment,
Yeah.
So it's really a toss up. And I hope that because streaming services are new, we can start to figure out ways for things to be equal, like for the creator to be able to eat while these services can still afford to house our music. Because right now it's not equal. It is not equal.
Can you break down, or do you know what the breakdown is of what happened to that whole dollar per play?
You know what? It's honestly, it's kind of shrouded in like, we don't know, because I mean, no one's really required to give you that information. I know that there's like different like lawsuits and stuff going on that I'm not going to speak on because I don't know the details. Yeah. But you know, what I'm assuming is it's actually doing the distribution. Obviously, there are tons of people that work at these distribution services, but you know, there's also like CEOs and stuff making millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And when you think about it, the CEOs don't make the music. It's the creators that are making the music, and we the ones struggling month to month here. You know, as a new think about it, 1 million streams and $4,000, and 1 million streams for a new artist is going to take you months to do. So that's not even really sustaining, you know, you. And then that's why, you know, a lot of people hate on influencer culture and all that stuff, but a lot of us have to do that to eat, you know? So, freezing, okay.
Now, with that, like influencer culture, then, do you feel that there is a middle ground? Because from my industry, acting, there's a very fine divide of working actors don't want influencers on these big projects.
Yes.
Right? What's it like with music?
I think it's the same thing. It's a fine line, but it's also like, I think it's going to start to be more respected, like as a job, because even for me as an artist, you know, it's our industries are like hand in hand. Yeah. And it's like influencing is annoying in the way that like, I'll only, for me personally, as an influencer, I'm an artist, it's all encompassing. It's like, I'll only influence something that I actually use or I actually do. Right? Because that's a part of my brand, it's being authentic. But it's like, it actually requires a lot of damn work. Like people look at YouTubers like, oh, what is that? Yo, they're like editing all day. They're shooting out. You got to figure out content. You got to figure out, what is it? SEO, they call it SEO, optimizing your hash. Like they're like, they be doing their thing. So I don't know. I think it is a really fine line, because you don't like, especially if you're as an actor and as an artist, like they call you a new artist or a new actor, and you really been in the game 10 years. Yeah. So it's like a fine line with not disrespecting, you know, the talent that's been working at this. And then you have a little influencer from TikTok that's been making videos for 2 months and they're on the same thing. So I don't agree with that, but you know, I think it's a new world. It's a new world. Like things are blended. Everybody has, you know, 17 jobs because we all just trying to eat, you know? Yeah.
With that, like what's been your resume in terms of other jobs aside from your artistry?
Yeah. Well, I'm a songwriter too. So, you know, I am an artist, but I'm also signed to Sony as a songwriter.
But and I mean like before you're able to pay the bills with your artistry, like what other jobs did you have to keep?
Oh gosh. Oh, you mean before? Yeah. Oh boy, I did.
We're going back. For those people that don't know, Savannah Re was this big head girl, and she came to my high school with so much life and so much voice, but her head was still big. Happy that she grew into her head.
Still big now.
And no, but like we go back and
way back.
Like so. I'm so thrilled to see how far you've come, for sure. But I'm talking about those times. Like what were you doing then so you could pursue music?
Oh man, everything. I did every job. Like I was in retail. I used to work at, I'm sure everybody knows, that American Apparel. I was there for a long time. I worked at a hotel doing front desk. I worked at the bank. I bartended on the side. Like I've been hustling a long
Yeah.
time, and like especially when I was like working retail, I used to like when the store was dead, I'd print out like receipt paper and write songs on receipt paper and fold them up because you could, when you're on the floor, you can't have your phone. So I was just like, and like when an idea would come and I'd be like thinking about ideas, man, like those were the days, man.
Yeah. Do you still have like any of those receipt paper lyrics lying around?
No, you know what? Sometimes it's like if a manager was coming up, I'd have to like crumple it and like put it away. But a lot of the time, what I did was like on my break, you know what I'm saying? Like fold it up. But on my break, I would just take what was on there and actually put it in my phone. So a lot of my songs started that way. Like those little lines that I wrote out, I put them in my phone, and I wish off top, I can't remember if I used anything for like my first project, but I definitely still have those lyrics. To me, it was like these jobs are a means to an end, but you have to pay for shit to be done. One thing I didn't want is any handouts, no favors. I was like, if you believe in yourself, you have to invest in yourself at the end of the day.
Yeah. Did you ever get fired from any of those jobs, or did you have to choose like your artistry over any of those jobs at one point?
Yes. Yeah. So
call them out.
Call them out. I know, right? No, I had to quit. The last job I had before things kind of started to move, I was at, I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but it was a hotel, a very popular hotel chain.
Does it
I was in
with Aridin?
No, it rhymes with Bilton.
Gotcha. I like the Bilton.
And I like the Bilton too. It's a good hotel. It does the trick, I was in reception there, and it's a great job too. And I got a call from Boy Wonder, and he was like, listen, I have this artist coming in for like a week, and I would love to get you guys in and just have you guys vibing. So it was like a whole week, like a Monday to Friday. And the artist also happened to be Snow Allegra. So I was like, girl, because when you're working, the schedule comes out sometimes up to a month in advance. Yeah. So I could get some of the other girls to cover like a couple of days, but then what happens? I'm gonna say, I'm gonna tell Boy Wonder, I have work, so I can't come to the studio. Like for me, that was like that was my, are you gonna give up, what could spark your career for your job moment? Because that job was great. I had benefits, I had all these things, but it was like, yo, this is not what you want to do with your life. So I literally quit. I quit. I was like, in that moment, I talked to my mom. I talked to Yogi, my man. I was like, yo, what do I do? And they were like, yo, we can't make this decision for you, but you have to go with your gut. And I did. And that was late 2017. And I haven't looked back. I've been doing this ever since. So.
Yeah. How does that feel?
But oh man, which part? The job, or that I'm still doing it?
That you're still doing it.
It feels great. It feels great. I feel like, you know what? I would have days where I was like, yo, when is this gonna happen? Like, when is this gonna happen? While I'm working and being like so sad and depressed and broke and all this stuff, but I still kept going. And, I remember there's a time I'd literally be going from work, and I take the bus 3 hours to the West End to literally go to the studio. And because it was so far, I'd end up sleeping over there in the same work clothes, sleeping on the floor in this studio to make sure that I got work done. And those moments, and what I'm doing now, those moments I would never want to change, because it creates a certain humility, a certain hunger. Like I don't ever want to go back to that. And you know what? I don't need to go back to that, because now we're carrying forward everything that we learned in that space. You know what I mean? So it's crazy. It's still crazy to me, like for it to be really that I put out one project and to already, have a Juno and to have been nominated for, like, that wasn't the goal. Like I was telling you, the goal was just to make what's in my heart and continue to be myself. So it's been great for it to be well received, honestly.
Nice. Do you feel like you're an adult?
No. No, never. It's so weird when you're like younger. I was just talking to Yogi about this. It's so funny you said that. When you're younger and you're like yeah, like you see people that are like 25 and you're like, oh my God, like they're so old. You know what I mean? Like, oh, like, or your teachers even. And now it's like, now that we're in that age bracket, I'm like, I feel exactly the same as I
Mm,
felt when I was 16. Like, as far as who I am, personality, still having fun, still having to joke, still having to laugh. Like, that hasn't changed.
yeah.
The only thing that's changed is bills, bills and responsibilities. But I just remember thinking, like, in high school, all of us are in such a rush to be adults, like to be grown up. And I was thinking, bruh, like, if I had the chance, I would go back. What you talking about? You don't have
Yeah.
to do nothing. The biggest,
Yeah.
what? The biggest problem was like heartbreak at high school. Like you have no, like I would just encourage like even my nieces and nephews, I'm gonna be like, stop trying to grow up so fast. I remember my mom used to say it like, just enjoy these years. And in my head, I was like, no, I wanna be grown.
Yeah.
Bruh. Yeah, those were the good times.
Like, for our parents to say that they grew up a particular way where they had to be independent, if you will, at a certain
Mm-hmm.
age, but with us, especially being, the product of an environment that's kind of led us towards arts, especially,
Yes.
what do you think is the trick then to tell kids to just relax and enjoy it? Because I was the same way. All my friends were the same way. When people told them like
Yeah,
don't rush growing up, everybody was like, "No, fuck this. I want to be a grown up. I want to be an adult."
exactly.
Right? So it's like, what do you think? What's your opinion on telling kids or convincing kids, "Hey, you got it good."
Yo, I have no idea, man. Like
Mm,
Yogi and I, we talk about it constantly because obviously, God willing, the next step is having some kids eventually. And it's like I feel like thinking about parenting and stuff, it sounds like it would be easy, but not until you're in the situation would we have any idea what
yeah.
to tell, a kid. But I kind of feel like it's like literally showing them, like, look, you don't need to rush to this.
Hmm.
Like even when it came time to start paying rent, I was like, you have to do this every month, like you just think that shit like you don't really know all the stuff that you have to do. Like the most responsibility I was given until like probably the end of high school was like my own phone bill.
Yeah.
So you have no idea all of the other stuff. So I think if they get to see the not so nice, not just the independence, I can go at whatever time I want, then it'll be more so like, let me take my time,
Mm,
because I had I knew, but not really. Like when I
yeah.
seen rent, I was like, so it's got to be over $1,000 like every month, and like you can't just be like, not this month. Like shit got real fast. So I think if we
Yeah.
give them that, then maybe like that's my plan.
Mm,
My plan is to be like, look,
yeah.
it's
What's
not
what's
just the
your
fun stuff.
what's your opinion now? And I'll ask you after the kids, but your opinion now while you don't have them, what would you
Yeah.
do if your kid came up to you and said, "I want to be a singer like you"?
Mm-hmm.
What do you do? What do you say?
I would say, listen, if that's what you want, you got to put the work in.
Mm,
That's all. There's never going to be no handouts from me. Just because your dad's a producer, your mom's a singer, don't mean that's going to be easy petting. I feel like that's the problem with a lot of these. Like, I'm technically a new artist to the world, but I'm not a new artist in general. Like, I had to fight. Like, I had to come in swinging for anything, for studio time, for anything. Even
mm,
just being from Toronto before it's cool, you have to fight to be in these environments. So if anything my child wants to do, anything arts related, whether it's school, whatever you want to do, I'm going to be supportive, but I'm always going to be very realistic because this is a dog eat dog world. You
yeah,
feel me? It's a dog eat dog world. So
yeah,
you giving, I feel like almost giving what do they call it? The silver spoon, the platter or whatever,
yeah,
that analogy. Spoon feeding your kids is not to their advantage, it's to yours.
Mm.
Because then they're gonna get in the real world and people are gonna be like, oh, like
Yeah.
I'm worried about you, you
Yeah.
know? So yeah, I think I the difference between our parents, I feel like my mom was very supportive, but to an extent, because they come from somewhere different.
Yeah.
If you're not a doctor, a lawyer, engineer, like
Yeah.
no, you know. But you know, once she realized it was something that I'm serious and I'm sticking to it, it's like then she was all in. She was all in on supporting and letting me go do what it is that I needed to do.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think the only difference is I'll be supportive from day one, whatever you want to do, but you're gonna have to put the work in.
Um, I asked that because like from an actor perspective, the biggest thing that
Mhm.
I wouldn't want my child to face, and I've spoken to other actors too, and they echo the sentiment, and they have kids as well, and it's the rejection. The
Mm,
rejection that an actor faces is beyond like I couldn't even tell you. So, but
yeah.
within the world of music, I feel like there's more avenues as well. But what's the
Mm,
rejection like when it comes to being in the music industry?
it's a lot and it sucks. You get way more no's than yeses.
Hmm.
But what I tell myself, like it still sucks, but what I tell myself is it's the yeses that matter.
Hmm.
It's not the no's that matter, you know, but there's so much. You can go into a label and they can hate it. They can be like, I hate this music. Do you stop? No. You know, even with me at the level I'm at, like to me, I'm still emerging, but I could ask certain people for features and they literally go, no. And it's like, okay, next. You know what I'm saying? And then the next person, the eighth person might say yes. And that's what matters.
Hmm.
You know, so no, it's the rejection is, and also people are just crazy. Like people say crazy things to you. Like
Yeah.
even me at the level that I'm at, just as soon as you have that little verified tick and you know you do something that's public facing, you're a public figure, people feel like they could just say shit in your comments and DM you negative stuff. No, that like even for me, I'm like, yo, like, do you guys think I don't know if people think that you don't read them? I'm like, I got a
Hmm.
couple hundred comments. I'm seeing all of these comments. Like
Yeah.
they feel like because you're a public figure, you are impenetrable. Like you don't face these things. And we see it a lot with the mental health in actors, the mental health in singers, the mental health in a lot of these public facing figures. They struggle. They
Yeah.
struggle sometimes, you know. But yeah, as far as rejection, it's everywhere. If you can't handle it, if you can't build that skin, you can't be in these industries.
Hmm.
You literally can't.
And that's the thing where it's just like to build that skin, you need to callous yourself. It's not just like, I'm gonna go to the gym and I'm gonna buff up so I can prepare for this. No, you gotta fall, you gotta scrape yourself, and you gotta just
Yep.
get back up. And I think that's the part that I'm scared of if my child were to say, "Hey, I want to be an actor." It's like, hey, here's a nice book. You can read this book for now. Just so
Yeah. No, I love that what you said. Callous yourself. That's a fact. And
yeah,
if the callous got to come from us as the parents, that might be what it's got to be. Like
yeah,
you come show me you want to be a singer, come sing for me. That's not good. Here's how you improve.
mm,
Because it's either, if we don't tell them, they go into the world and come back heartbroken.
yeah,
Like if there's one thing about my mom, she don't play. I could play her a song right now. I swear to God, she'll hear me making the music and she'll be like, that doesn't sound good. And I listen. No,
yeah,
because you have to understand, like they're not even musicians. So she's just gonna go off of what she's hearing. She'll be like, Savvy, that don't sound good.
yeah,
I don't like it. And
yeah,
I'll be offended, but usually 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna scrap that song. And then
mm,
she'll also come downstairs sometimes and be like, wow, that's beautiful. I love that. And it's usually more so that, but I also know she'll literally straight up be like, I don't like that.
mm,
Who do you trust more than your parents? If you're not going to be honest, if you're not going to be real with me, it's like, how can you be real with anybody else or take anybody else's critique?
yeah. Have you gotten experimental with your music? So like to a point where your mom would be like, I don't like that, but you have another direction for it where you're like, I'm gonna keep it.
Um, I think I've kind of always been a little bit experimental with my music.
Mm.
which is why it's like, you could have a song like Solid, but then you could also have a song like, I don't know, DVP or Love Me Back, or like these songs that are like completely different than that like traditional R&B of Solid. So I think she's always known because, back in the day, I used to like produce my own music and stuff too, and use like weird sounds and all that stuff. So I think she knows it's not usually like because I'm doing something different that'll throw her.
Mm.
She'll literally just be like, you don't sound good on that. So
Gotcha.
she's open to me being experimental, of course, because she knows that's just what I'm gonna do. But no, she's always down. She doesn't like when I swear, obviously, even though I'm a grown ass woman. I'm a grown ass woman. Which one? I have a song called Sacred. And at first she only heard the one with the swearing because there's also like the radio version. And she was like, what? You say fuck? Was that? And I was like, Mom, okay, I love you and I get it, but I'm grown. Okay. But it's like she loves that song. She loves the song.
Yeah.
She doesn't like the F-bomb, but she loves the song. So she's really like open when it comes to that stuff.
You just brought up a interesting phrase, the radio edit. Now with streaming services, what is still the importance of getting played on the radio?
Oh man. It's harder to get played on the radio, but radio is where the money is at, bro. Radio now is one of the only traditional resources that's still paying like for example, I'll be candid because that's just what it is. I already said a stream, right, is like a percentage of a penny. On major radio, you're still getting like between $10 to $20 a play.
Oh wow.
A play. Like if you're on like the big like CBC network, whatever the case may be. I remember one of my first songs got played 3 times on CBC and I literally got like $70, bro.
Damn.
I was like, what am I getting $70 for? Like, because what we just said, 1 million streams is $4,000.
Yeah.
For like, I think it was 4 streams, I got $70, bro. So imagine with these big artists that have their songs where every time you hear the radio, it plays, that is bank. Touring and radio are pretty much like the only ways that an artist actually makes like money.
Yeah. Now, is the culture still around where you can hand your music directly to a disc jockey at a radio station, and if they like you, they'll play it? Or are there so many more hoops that you need to go through?
I think so. I think that people sleep on that type of stuff. And for me, like, look at people like Tory Lanez. Like, Tory used to hand out his mixtapes in front of all the malls. I know you probably remember that too. It's like people sleep on that stuff, flyers. But I feel like from what I've heard from the DJs that I've spoken to, they still love that shit. Look at Boot Up by LMA. That went up because DJs started playing that at the outside jams. I think it was New York. They started playing it at like the barbecues or whatever, and then people started requesting it.
No, but
and
like,
then
I know about that, where it's like you can get your music out to those like DJs and stuff like that. But for radio, I'm still like, because I'll watch like old or period pieces from back in the 80s and 90s, and then you'll have like the artists like at the radio station and be like, play this. Like, does that still happen?
I think it's a bit more rare now. I think just because even to get into these radio stations, you can't just walk in how you used to be able to. Things are different in that, right? But I do still think, like if that's why I mentioned the Boot Up thing, because even if you give it to that DJ is going to give it to another DJ. And then once people start requesting it, the radio has to pick it up. So that's still another avenue. But also, if you saw a DJ that works at a radio station on the road and you handed them your shit, a lot of times, 9 out of 10 times, they're going to play it. And then if they like it, I still think there are traditional people like that are working in these radio stations that'll be like, I want to play this.
And then if that happens, if a DJ plays it on their own accord, do you also get paid from that?
I think if they play it like one time, no.
Okay.
It's mostly if you get added to the rotation.
Gotcha.
Like if you get put in where you're getting played more than once,
Yeah.
then you're gonna start to get paid. If it only
Gotcha.
plays one time and then no one asks for it again, you know,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
probably it. That's
Fair.
probably it. That was, you know, the DJ giving you a chance and whatever not, which is still amazing. You can
Yeah.
still, you know, we say, hey, I got played on the radio. But it's once you actually get added into like a rotation that you get like money.
Gotcha. All right, Miss Savannah. I want to go back. I want to go all the way back
Oh
because
boy.
back in high school, like you were the singer. Like you came and you just people knew you were the singer. Where did that come
Right.
from? And did you know back in high school that music was what you wanted to get into?
Yes. Um, Now, you know, like I'm just an artistic person in general. So it wasn't at first, it wasn't, oh, I'm going to be a singer. It was just, I always knew I'm going to be in the arts. You know,
Okay.
I was a visual artist first. And then if you can remember, I was a dancer
Yeah.
before people knew I was a singer.
My
So,
favorite memory of you, for some reason that
oh
still
gosh.
sticks out in my head,
Oh gosh.
is you tap dancing in the hallways.
Did I
Like
tap?
when you were just waiting, when you're bored, like you just start
Yeah.
tapping, and I'd be like, "What?" It's like, especially because it's Pope, and it's like, you know, I
Yeah.
feel like that's one of the dance skills for like, what that's for an art school. If you know tap dance, you
Yeah.
shouldn't be at Pope. You should be at an art school. But you're at Pope and you're
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
tapping, and I was like, this girl's weird, but I'm
Yeah.
into it.
I think that's exact. I have to like get that tattoo. This girl's weird, but I'm into it. I think that's what happened at Pope because I came from an art school,
Mm,
right? So that's what was normal for me. Like art schools literally look like High School Musical,
yeah.
minus the singing. Literally, you're walking down a hallway, someone's doing a spin, someone else is banging on some books to rap. Like that's what I was used to. So
Mm.
coming into that environment, I'm like, I'm not about to change, even though everybody's like, what is up? What's going on with
Yeah.
Shorty? But you know, yeah, like that's what it was for me because they encouraged us to explore all avenues of whatever you like in art. I ended up with shit like tap. I,
Mm.
I don't know where that gets you, but I liked to tap too. So it was like, yeah, I don't know. For me, I ended on singing. And I think it was kind of like because I love doing all these other things, I would say like art, visual art would kind of like scratch um my sensory. So
Mm.
like what I see, as far as like, you know, an itch you need to scratch, it was sensory. Dance was my body and sort of like that need to express yourself. You know, why people get mad, they want to hit or they want to you know, throw something or break something. That dance expression was my body. And then with those two things, it was like, okay, I feel great. But then when I started to sing, that was totally different activity. Like it's like it closed the circle for
Mm.
me. It was like, oh, wait a minute. So I can move my body. I can still be visual in that, you know, you still need music videos.
Mm.
You still need you know, a brand around yourself. And then I can also touch people in that way, like with my voice. And I was like, all right, yeah, this is it. This is the one that sort of fulfills all of those
Mm.
places. And I was like, well, this is what I'm gonna do. And you know, the thing about it is when you look at it, like you really can use all of those things. Like I haven't yet. Like a lot of people who don't know me from the past, they don't even know I dance. They don't know I'm an artist yet. It takes time to kind of like transition into those things. But
Mm.
music is like that. All you could do whatever you want. Like you could do whatever you want. I could dance. I cannot dance. I can direct my videos. I can do weird stuff like the Weeknd's music videos. They're like, what the hell is going on here? But you can do whatever you want. It's the most free sort of career I feel like I could stumble on where I could just be me.
Yeah. Now with the visual arts, and you talk about directing music videos and stuff like that, and within music videos as well, you're also acting, right?
Yep.
Is that
Mm-hmm.
like something that you want to explore, or are you just so in rap with music at the moment that that's too far to think of?
Well, actually, over COVID, I did some auditions. One thing with the art school too is we had to act as well.
Yeah.
That was one of my minors. I had a major and two minors, and it was one of them was drama. But it's like, I'm just easing in and seeing what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And the cool thing about the auditions is it was people that reached out to me
Yeah.
because one of them for a show that actually is just coming out, they saw me in the paper, Toronto Star, and they're like, wait, she would be perfect for this role. And the thing is, I almost didn't go to the audition because I was like, I haven't acted in, I don't know, since, elementary school, early high school. Like, I was really nervous. And then I went and I actually loved doing the audition. I didn't get the role, obviously, but I loved doing it. Like, it was, again, a different itch to scratch. It felt amazing. So, I mean, we'll see. And, the last project, I didn't like push for the credit, but, with the Opia video and that experiment, like I co-directed that.
Hey, okay.
That was my idea. Like, to have people sit across from each other and shoot it like almost like a blend between like a film, like a documentary and a music video. Like I have these ideas. So this next project, I'm actually going to be, if not directing, co-directing all of the music videos.
Wow.
So yeah, that's my plan. Like, I want to start opening people up to who I am a little bit more. And I feel like me getting behind the camera as well as in front of the camera will help people do that. So yeah, I really want to get into some more acting, actually.
Yeah. Now it's hard to predict now the trajectory of an artist's path. But what's your hopes with your artistry? Where do you want to end up? Do you want to build like an art school? Do you want to mentor other artists to a degree? Is the goal to become the songbird of your generation? Like, what's up there for you?
Absolutely, all the above. I mean, I used to, many years ago, I used to go to at-risk schools and teach these at-risk youth about music, that, even that they're songwriting. Like, you don't necessarily have to be a singer if you don't want to be, like, all the things that you could do. And for me, like, community is super important. I really do. You hit it on the head. Like, I want to, not necessarily an art school, but just like a place where kids can go so they're not getting in trouble, where they're actually able to learn about real shit. Like, a lot of these programs that are available right now, it's people that are so removed from the actual industry. So you're paying thousands of dollars to go to this place and get contacts that are outdated or that you could go out, you can get yourself. No, I want to be able to
get
actually
involved with any of those after school programs that were happening?
Yes, actually. But the problem is, in Scarborough, they would have a couple and then they would close and they would just never reopen them. So me, again, I had to take 3 hours on the bus and go to Weston and Lawrence to find a studio. Yeah, Weston and Lawrence, from where we were at, Morningside. I was at Port Union, actually. So I was going from Port Union to Weston and Lawrence on the bus just to be able to record and get these programs where, like, they'd bring people in to come talk to you, and you could have an engineer and stuff. So it's like, I feel like they dropped the ball a lot in Scarborough. And I think there's a lot of like key players and people now that are just not going to let that keep happening. And like downtown Toronto has initiatives like the Remix Project. And even that, when I went to the Remix Project, I had to commute from Scarborough all the way down to downtown Toronto. There's nothing in the vicinity of Scarborough where, you can just go in your community and have these things happen. So it's very, very important for me. I'd say that's in like the 5-year goal, like soon. So, stuff like that, more mentoring. All you said, I want to be the songbird of my generation too, but I also want to start like bulldozing a lot of the shit that's already here. As far as when we keep talking about, infrastructure so hard because there's no infrastructure, I'm trying to get a lot of these old niggas out of here and get this shit started, because we have way too much talent here. I could open my Instagram right now and hashtag Toronto music and find another superstar. So we just need to, instead of constantly complaining about what the issues are here, once it's in our power, we just need to change shit. That's what I plan to do.
Yeah. No, that's dope. Now, since we're on the topic of like dreaming and what's next,
Mm-hmm.
in relation to your experimental tastes, who are the first 5 artists that come to mind that you'd want to work with?
Ooh, who would I want to work with? Um, well, the artists I'd want to work with are not that experimental, but they're like already in my genre and amazing. Obviously,
Okay.
like SZA, love me some SZA, love me some Doja, Bryson Tiller,
Hmm.
Black. Who else?
Do you have any
A
favorite
lot
artists
of
that are
people
outside of
still
your
want to
genre?
outside of my genre, like hip hop, and then
Hip
outside of my
hop,
genre, I love
classical,
James. Yeah,
alternative
I
rock.
love yeah, I love James Blake.
Hmm.
He's hard. He's really, really, I don't even know what genre you categorize him as. It's
Yeah.
very like, because he'll have songs with like Travis Scott, but then he'll have like super rock songs.
Hmm.
Love James Blake. I love how he uses his voice as an instrument. Who else? A lot of the other people are in my genre,
Hmm.
but like I love me some Brandy as well, of
Yeah.
course.
Because like I always
Yeah.
have this
I don't
discussion
know.
with other artists where I feel like, my opinion, but I feel like
Mhm.
music is all about like going to other genres,
Totally.
right?
Totally.
So it's
Collaboration.
like, yeah, but then that's the thing, is like a lot of the times other people just, they'll stay in that lane. They'll stay in the, oh, I'm hip hop, I gotta stay hip hop. And it's like, yo, if
Mm,
you look at when Jay-Z teamed up with Linkin Park, like magic just happens when you cross genres,
yeah.
right? So it's like
Yeah.
I'm curious to know what's the other genre that you're aspiring to mix into.
Well, see, I can't say too much yet. I can't
Oh,
say too much
gotcha.
yet.
Fine,
But
gotcha. Fair.
but yeah, we got a little, a little bit of rock coming soon with some Toronto rock legends. I can say that.
Mm,
Um, we got a lot of hip hop crossovers on my next project.
mhm. Nice.
We'll
Okay.
see
We'll see.
soon.
We'll see. We'll
But
see.
I'm all for it. I'm all for
Yeah.
it. Like it's interesting because I consult the universe a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll say something that I want to happen, and then if it's supposed to happen, the universe will make it happen.
Hmm?
So, yeah, but there's gonna be some little rock stuff,
Dope.
some hip hop, some
Yeah.
R&B, some Caribbean type. There's some stuff coming.
Have you accepted Soka in your life yet?
Okay, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Cause see, I know you remember that. And as an adult, I feel like I'm having to fight for my life a lot more when I go somewhere and I'm like, I don't like soca. People are like, what? But I will say, I played Mass, the
Mhm,
last Caravana,
mhm.
and that absolutely changed my perspective on soca. I'm not
That's
gonna lie
that's
to you.
that's the quote.
I
That's
never
the
thought it
quote
would
we're using.
happen. Imagine. But look, what it is like the environment changed it for me. Seeing how it made people feel. People
Yeah.
are going down the road just enjoying life, just lit, just waving, just sweating. Just, I was like, okay, I would just have to be a mean, negative Patty to not like soca. You know what I
Which
mean?
you
So it's
were throughout
no,
all of high
no
school.
lies. I was just being very Jamaican and only banging on my reggae. But I get it. I get the soca thing now. Like,
Mm.
is it still? Am I gonna be like, let me wake up and just put on soca? No, but I don't hate it. I
Fair.
don't hate it anymore. That's progress. It's progress.
Now, one thing too that like I'm very big on with this podcast is, especially when I'm talking to artists, where what's the down been like?
Mm,
Where when you're going through something, when when you wake up and you just don't want to, do anything music related and your head is just
Yeah.
elsewhere? How do you turn off? How do
Yeah.
you recharge? How do you recover?
Well, shit, I'm still learning.
Mhm.
But for me, what I had to learn, especially through this pandemic, is to have patience for myself. I have to give myself patience because, like, before that, it was like, go, 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 go. And then all of a sudden, the whole world is uncertain, you know?
Give me an
So,
example of needing to give yourself patience.
well, for direct example, let me think. Honestly, right now, like I've been in a funk for a little while
Mm.
because one, I'm in Toronto. There's 30 centimeters of snow on the ground. It's been negative 45 outside every day. Exactly. It's dark. So like worse if we're working till 4 a.m. Let's say I get up at 11 or 12. It's dark by 5. So
Yeah.
you're getting like 4 hours of sunlight. So for my mental, it sucked. It has sucked. And at the same time, like my cycle of releasing music is about to start. So there's a lot of things on my back right now, like deadlines, um, songwriting, which artists are looking for projects right now. So I have to constantly be in a creative swing. But how creative are you going to be given all of those things that are going on right now? You're not. And that's human and that's okay. And, at a different time, I would have beat myself up for feeling like shit. But
Mm.
now I know in order for me to be able to even bounce back from these down moments, I have to extend myself some patience and grace and let myself kind of live through these moments. Do what makes you happy. Like I discovered, for example, something as simple as like, I like hot chocolate with fucking whipped cream up to the top and marshmallows. And even just seeing that makes me happy. So guess what? I'm going to do it. Yeah. Oh, I got to worry about this. Oh, you got to lose 10 pounds. Fuck it. First of all, right now, everybody's fat. Okay. We've been inside for 3 years. Everybody got a little bit of weight to lose. And if it's going to help me get through the day, I'm going to do what it is that I need to do.
Mm.
So, in those moments, I just feel like a lot of times, especially because we're our worst critics, we beat ourselves down further than we even need to. If you're already feeling like shit, give yourself the space to do even one thing that makes you happy, something small. Something small. For me, it's hot chocolate.
Yeah.
I think
How did you learn this? At what point, like, was the learning curve to understand that you needed to give yourself grace?
um throughout this time, just throughout the pandemic. So really that's the last couple of years. Otherwise, I'd just be like, no, get up, just keep going, keep going. And inside, I'm like empty. Like I'm like a
Mm.
shell. I'm just a shell of myself going through the paces. And I realize that's more to my detriment because
Yeah.
if I don't let myself just go through it and then naturally, once I feel better, start going into things, I'm extending the downtime because I'm not facing it. I'm not actually dealing with whatever is making me feel this way.
Mm.
So in times like this, where it's stuff that's out of our control, which is, shows getting shut down because of COVID, the winter, the whatever, it's like there's a lot of stuff that you can't control. So then now
Yeah.
I got to take that shit in my hands and start to figure out what I like. I like onesies and hot chocolate. And, like you got to figure it out. You got to
Yeah.
figure it out. So that's just what I've been doing, honestly. And oh yeah, tequila. Yes, I like tequila as well.
The
Tequila is
class
very
is
helpful.
Zool. All right.
I did get very helpful. But nah, yeah.
Mm.
I've been extending myself grace. And the thing is, with learning that for myself, it's helped me learn to do that for others.
Yeah.
Very, very because even out of friendships and adult friendships and how things are, it's like you expect the most. And no one it takes learning patience for yourself for you to sit down and be like, wait, maybe that person's not replying because they're not feeling good.
Mm.
Maybe that person isn't themselves because they're overwhelmed right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an ever an ever-flowing process to like
Yeah.
figure it out, and we change and we grow. And I don't know if a couple of months ago that wouldn't have made me happy, who knows, but we got to keep being in tune with ourselves, because we only have control over ourselves. That's it.
So with COVID coming in and completely obliterating like so many industries as it did, I'm curious, what's Toronto's atmosphere like in terms of its performance venues? Because a lot of them have been closing. So then,
Yeah, it's sad.
so what is an artist to do now in terms of performance spaces? Where do they tour in Toronto? Damn.
We kind of just have to wait and see, right?
Yeah.
The nice thing was, my heart was crushed when I heard the Mod Club was closing, but really what it was a new company is owning it and actually renovated it, so it's back as Axis. So
But
that
Lee's is
made me
closed.
pretty happy. Which closed?
Lee's Palace, isn't that one closed down?
I didn't even hear about that one. Yeah, probably then. A bunch of them closed.
Yeah.
But there's still a couple. There's still so my club is back as Axis, the Axis Club. Phoenix is still there.
Yeah.
Drake Underground is still there.
Opera House still around?
And those I would say are, pardon?
Opera House still around?
Yes.
Okay.
Opera House is still there. So those are still like the emerging, like mid-sized artist level.
Yeah.
So we're lucky in that regard. And then I think there's a couple, Drake, I think he's behind History. History just opened, which is like big. That's like 4,000 capacity.
Nice. Okay.
That just opened. I hope it stays open, because it was like launching when COVID started. So it was like, damn. And then, there's like Danforth Hall. Like there's a couple, but we're seeing now new regulations are supposed to be lifted at the top of March for capacity. So hopefully that means no more of them have to close, because we cannot afford to lose anything else. Like Toronto's starting to look like a ghost town.
Yeah. Now with comedians, they had to transition into online shows. I feel like musicians have already been in the online market, right? So it's like that was an easy transition for you then?
No, I hate it. No, I'm not. I guess, because sometimes if you can't tour, then you'll do online stuff. But again, like I was telling you, a lot of musicians, our money even comes from touring, from actually physically being in these spaces. For me, outside of the money, like my favorite and most fulfilling part of making music is performing, like in person, getting to feel people's energy. They get to see you, they're singing lyrics at you. Like there is nothing better than that. Yeah. So it sucked. It put a wall, like it's like a wall in front, like singing to a camera is different than getting to touch people and hug people that support you. It sucks. Yeah. But we have made the pivot. Like everything, a lot of stuff now is online, and I get why. It's for safety's sake. But it sucks.
No, that's fair. Savannah, you have graced me with all the time that I need, but I do have one more question.
Okay.
And this is in terms of your award. Now for acting, like you'll hear stories from the best of the best, and they'll say when they first got their Oscar, like they had the assumption that, all right, now the ball's going to get rolling, but then nothing happens. What was it like after your award?
Man, I feel like moments are like so fleeting. It's like you think, oh wow, like wow, I've got an award. And it's like, then it's gone. I think that's why you cannot base your joy or your happiness off of moments, because they're fleeting. So it's like, it happened. I couldn't even believe it happened. Like I was sitting at the computer, it wasn't registering. Yeah. One thing that sucks, I so wish it was in real life. Like if I got to go up on that stage and man. But anyway,
yeah,
I feel like because of when I got the award, I was already in cycle. I accepted my award in New York. I was in a hotel in New York shooting Spotify.
yeah.
So it was like, it never stopped. The ball was just like, but I mean, I don't think like, for example, like you expect, oh, certain opportunities are going to come from the awards. Not really. But I do think there's a new level of respect that comes from having 100%.
Yeah.
You know, that's like a leading note now. I'm a Juno Award winning artist. And for me, like, while I don't let that determine anything, for me, it was definitely affirming. It was affirming. Like, that wasn't even an album. That was my first ever released EP that got not, 2x Juno nominated and won a Juno. So it was like, what is even, I'm being seen after being around for so long, and you start to feel like, when you're not the shiny new toy, is anybody even seeing what's going on? So that was very, very affirming to me.
Fair. I know I said that was the last question, but one more question.
Shoot.
How do you feel the industry is now in regards to needing to go to the States to make it before you make it back home? Is that still the very same stigma, or is it changing, or do you feel like it's changing, or what would it take to change that?
Great question. It's changing. It's in the process of changing, because I'm not going to say that you don't have to go to the States. However, the priority of having to go into the States is way lower. Like, it's changing, because 89% of the producers that are producing all of these songs that are huge in the States are from here. They live here.
Yeah.
Right. And then we also have a whole bunch of Canadian artists. The leading artists in the world right now are also from here. So I think there's a lot more now that you can get done from here. But then, for example, like when it's time for a press run, there's not a lot of Canadian press. There isn't even a lot of people in Canada. So you do still have to go to the States. Now, what could change that? Not much, right? Because even look at what's just happened with Flow 93 and G98. They just had to combine, because that's not anybody's fault. And I think that's what people won't necessarily understand is there a market? Exactly. Precisely. It's like, is there a market for urban music? If not enough people are turning into urban radio, radio is one of those things that's impartial. It goes by the numbers. So if not enough people are tuning into this 93, then that's what's going to happen. And that's nobody's fault, because we are the minority. At the end of the day, the people that consume that music versus Z103 and what's the other one? 92, 99.1 Virgin Radio. There's more bodies that enjoy that. So when we talk about it, like California, the state has more people in it than Canada, the country. So there's certain things we can't help, but the other stuff that we can help is to help support our artists more from here. And that's infrastructure based. That's getting all these non-Black, non-people of color in these buildings that don't understand Black music out of there. Or we're getting people around them that can show them what's going on. That's the only way that part changes. So we're in like literally an amazing period right now of what Toronto is already doing and what they're about to continue to do. Because on my own, I can name, probably up to 10 artists that are incredible and are on their ascension right now from here. So Toronto, listen, we here to stay right now, and it's not just, the conversation isn't just going to start with Drake, The Weeknd, and Justin Bieber in a couple of years. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's dope, and I love the stance, and I'm wishing you all the best with the industry and not just for you, but yeah, for all Toronto artists, because there's so much fucking talent in Toronto, and I just want
Totally.
to see more artistry from Toronto.
Mhm.
That's just my hope. But
Totally. And like what you're doing here and this podcast and you, like whenever I put on a show and I'm like, mom, it's X. No, I swear, I get so amped. I'm so excited. I'm excited for you. I love to see like, anybody that's been wanting to do something like stay doing it and breaking through these barriers. You know what I mean? It's up to us to do it, and it's up to us to do it for the new ones that are the younger ones that are coming up to see that
yeah,
you can do it and you can, what I'm saying, follow your dreams and make it.
yeah. There's a quote where it's like the things you do aren't for yourself, but for the people that come after. And yeah,
One
like,
thousand percent.
and then back to like us being adults, like it's crazy because we're the ones now where it's like people are looking up at us and be like, oh, I want to do that.
Totally.
So
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's wild. But Sav, yo, appreciate you so much. Thank you for your time. And
Thank
you
you.
are
Thank you for having
incredible.
me. I'm
Yeah,
I'm I'm always good to talk, and it's so good to see you.
yeah, no, likewise. But no, I can't wait to just kick it again with you. Hopefully on a red carpet somewhere. But no,
I'm
yeah,
saying, whenever you back in the city, you gotta come get into some of this over here.
y'all gotta find a way to melt your snow first. That's the thing. Is
I
like
don't want
I'm
to talk about this. I don't want to talk about this now.
like that's the whole purpose of this trip is just like to be in my tiny home, but at the same time get away from it. Like right now, yeah, Santa Monica looks nice right now.
I don't want to see.
Oh man.
Oh,
But Miss Savannah Ray, thank you so much for coming out. Everybody, the 2 Degrees podcast brought to you by the Play On Foundation. Check out Savannah Ray. Turn your radios on because she's gonna be
turn
there.
them on.
But other than that, y'all stay safe and magina kayo.
Thank you. Peace.